Yes, this seemed awfully curious to me.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they're gonna get that campground. I mean, no, that's what money wants. The planning board, I do a question, if you don't mind, just, I mean, you're not sure. Where'd you find Wendy? How did she find you?
Yeah.
Planning commissioner.
Everything is on.
Okay. Okay. Oh, I know, believe me, I know hundreds and hundreds of acres of MFL, yes.
So they know
Yes. Okay, my argument with it is, if I hear one more time, a minimum of 2.5 acres for subdividing. You know she's on 1 acre.
Hello?
Or maybe you don't. Her property, her residential property on 95814 is 1 residential acre, surrounded by those hundreds of acres that are family homes. And it's being timbered now.
Stand for the pledge,
She pays no taxes.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
In the mom's name, or the trust name, it's going to be, that's not representative.
Print it off.
Well, it doesn't say it again, that was the wrong meeting agenda.
Okay. So there is no minutes for the last meeting to read off then? Okay. All right, I called this meeting basically for any board meetings of regular, just so I personally can catch up. I feel I'm walking into this kind of empty-handed, so this was just a discussion mostly to learn about the things that I missed out on in the last little while here. So with that, silence this. I would kind of like to start out with just an informal. I will like to allow people to speak at the end, some of your comments. I have not a problem with that. So we'd just like to kind of keep it short with that. There's no decisions that are to be made today. It's just discussion. So.
One quick thing I want to say, because of the impending storm, I've alerted the guys at the transfer site that it starts getting
It starts getting bad, the weather is bad, the winds are flying, there's no safe place for them there.
No.
So I told them to shut it down and close the gate and go home.
I wouldn't imagine anybody be bringing their recyclables or...
You would be surprised.
Well, point taken.
But the reason why I'm mentioning it to you is typically when people are unhappy with the service at the transfer site, they call the chairman.
Okay.
They don't call me, they call the
Yeah,
chairman.
not
So,
a problem. So
yeah.
I do understand that.
Yeah.
All right. Does either one of you two have anything that you want to bring up right away, or?
I do.
Okay.
Speaking of the transfer site, I want to change the hours. I want to make them permanent. What I'm looking at is Saturday and Sunday all year round, same hours, and then Wednesdays, and deleting Mondays. But that would be permanent. It would not be dependent on daylight savings time.
So in order to do this, it'd be kept on a regular basis, so people would just be used to it, you know,
Yeah.
instead of trying to figure out before or after
Right.
or anything like that.
Right.
So, okay.
Yeah, and like you had mentioned, if there's any discussion about this afterwards, you know, if citizens have some input, you know, I'd like to hear that.
Yep, definitely. So, okay.
But what I've come up with is a compromise based on the people I've talked to and what they would like to see.
Okay. Alrighty, definitely would take that into consideration then, so, alright. Anything else?
The illegal meeting that you had last Sunday,
Was not an illegal meeting.
yes, it was.
How so?
How so? Because you were supposed to be on the board, and you're supposed to also be on the planning committee, according to the state.
Okay, I was not aware that I had to be on the
Yes,
planning
and you had
committee.
a quorum of people out there, and you cannot just hand off your duties to Mike. That's collusion.
I haven't handed anything off to Mike at all.
I was told you gave your duties to Mike.
I didn't know I had these duties to begin with, so how could I give it to Mike?
Well, there had been some talk, otherwise there was a quorum out there, so you had an illegal meeting.
There was no quorum.
Yeah, Joe, Wendy, and Dick.
I am a board member, correct? I was the
Correct.
only board member
The
out
only
there,
board member there.
And you're also on the planning committee.
which I am not aware that I am on the planning committee.
Well, you were just made aware of it now.
Okay,
So you had an illegal unposted meeting.
So you appointed him to the plan commission?
No,
It's automatic.
it's automatic.
It's automatic, there's the town
It's
clerk on
automatic.
the planning.
State statutes.
The state statutes require a board member
okay.
to be
No,
on.
it requires the town chair to be on there. You can be on there as an optional, and you require 3 citizens. That's 5. So we got 6 people on the planning commission. That means 1 person has to go.
Did you bring your handbills with you?
No,
What's your point?
Well, if
This
Wendy
is
and
a
Joe were
public
there,
meeting.
it's still a quorum.
Wendy and Joe would be just 2 people out of
Yep,
4,
still a quorum.
correct?
Two
So,
people?
3 out of 5.
Because you were there. You're the
Yep.
3
planner.
out of 5.
okay, all right, stand corrected then on that.
That's
Okay.
3 out of 5.
And what was this meeting about then? Are we gonna hear about that here?
Sure, absolutely. Same thing, trying to catch up on some of the stuff. Here again, not being into this for the last year or so, I have no clue of everything that's going on with the campground. I want to find out
The
from,
campground.
well, the campground area, what this is all about. I had,
Pineland?
no, the one that's a proposed one to come in.
Oh, the junkyard, you mean, the,
Yes,
Oh, okay.
I wanted to find
we're
out.
calling it a campground now?
I'm sorry, that's a mistake on my part.
Wow.
It's
Fine
presumptuous.
property, okay, I'll go along with that. I want to find out what is going on with this, because I've been getting a lot of questions about it. I have no clue, so I'm trying to catch up. I want to find out what the people around, I want to find out the people of the township, what everybody thinks, if this could present it back.
Right, were you made aware of the petition that went around last year?
No, I
Online?
haven't, no.
Okay, it's still, is it still online, Jeff? Over 400 people signed a petition against it. I think over 500, and the town only has 958 people, so
Mhm.
that was more than half. And if
Okay.
you don't think the petition was real, like people were trying to,
I'm not even aware of it.
you're
so-
not. Well, we'll have to bring that.
Okay.
Let's do that again. And maybe this time more in person than online.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. That's the information I am looking for.
Right,
is the
I
thing.
didn't realize you weren't aware.
So, there was also the part going around about it being a salvage yard, so that was, I questioned that a lot too, and finding out, so there was kind of, why don't you take a look and see what's all out here?
Right, 'cause
Okay, so I wanted to see if this salvage yard was going in, where it was going in, if the campground is going in, I want to see what this is all about. I want to find out what everybody has been talking about, because I have not gone through any of this. So
But
it's just a
You're
catch-up.
only questioning the people involved with the campground.
Yes,
But that just started.
yeah, and somebody's got to come first, somebody's going to come later.
I
And,
think the people of the town should have came first, not the applicant.
exactly, not
point
these
taken.
Klein
Okay.
people from Rapids.
This is the second time this has happened. There's been a meeting before with just the campground that nobody was
Yes.
aware of, nobody was invited.
It was posted.
Yep,
Where?
It was-
Like this one was
It was
posted
asked Terry.
a few hours before you did it?
No,
was
no,
no.
this meeting,
That one
this
was
meeting was
posted.
posted over the weekend. Yes,
This
it
one
was.
today.
I'm the one who posted it. No, it wasn't posted today.
no, I'm saying this meeting today is what you're
Yes.
referring to. I think she's talking about a
was-
previous.
It was previous, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, it was a meeting I was not involved in.
No,
This is-
no, it
Yeah,
wasn't, but it's
yeah,
the
the
same
The
thing.
meeting was posted though, was it?
Yes, that
It
meeting
was.
But it was the same thing.
Okay.
And we were excluded,
When,
You were not excluded. It was open to the
Okay,
public.
legally, we
but
only
if you
have
don't
to,
tell anybody, it's not.
excuse me, legally, we only have to post on 3 boards. Nothing has to legally be put on the website. That is the law. That is the state statute.
Okay, I get it, Terry, you followed the law,
So
but
it's
that
on the
doesn't
board out
make it
front,
right.
but not on the
You
big
knew
board.
that, you knew that the
It's
dissent and
impossible
the
to
problems
constantly
going on. It
change
shouldn't have
that
been
big.
that way.
Okay.
It
It
should
is.
be
So where are the 3 boards,
transparent,
just
as
so I'll
what
know for
everybody
future
said when
reference.
they were running
Okay,
for the
only one
offices
person at a
of
time, please.
transparency. We're gonna have transparency.
Mhm.
We haven't started out with it.
that's what the part of this is for, right here at today's meeting.
Then why is it, a lot of people right here who don't want the campground? We really don't, a lot of people. And why is it that a big empty space, did they really, all these people where the empty space is gone right now, did they know what this was about? The
I
words
have
and
no
what you
idea.
wanted and what you're talking about?
Did you know what
That-
it was about?
You're not getting anywhere, you're repeating.
I didn't come to this
Did you
meeting-
notify other people other than us right now?
There's
about
no
this?
issue, it was
Yes, they
voted
put it-
down,
they
and
put
they
it
just
down.
keep trying to push for
Twice.
it. There is no
Twice
issue, it was
voted
voted down for
Okay.
the rezoning.
Okay, I didn't come to this meeting to discuss about the campground. I'm answering a
You just
question.
said you were. Oh, I mean,
Yes, you did.
yeah, that's what you just said, to talk about the campground.
Because it got brought to my attention, and I have not a problem with that. So
Dick,
that's where it went.
may I say
Hazel,
something?
please.
It's no secret, if you go down Highway C, they've already got their alternate bullying tactic.
Which I can't find online, by the way.
Well, yeah.
Heavy
they-
state
They now
recycling.
have 4x4 posters
I see
in the
that.
board with the
Mhm.
thing. Okay, so everybody knows there's an issue with the campground, and we'll see what the board does with it.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'd like to see if we could make a motion somehow to put these meetings on the website.
It was on
It
Sunday.
was on the website.
It
I
got
mean-
on,
Sunday.
it got on the neighborhood watch website Sunday,
Yeah, yesterday.
yesterday.
Right, I'd like to see if we can put them on at the same time it's posted in the 3 other spots.
was.
To-
It is posted on the town website. If you go to agendas,
Okay, well, I just was, listening to people saying that it wasn't, and I mean, if we could
Well,
make it policy that,
I don't
that it
think
would be
people
then.
check the website, I'm sorry, sir.
oh, go ahead.
I don't think people check the website every day. So if you put it on Sunday and the meeting's 9 AM on Monday,
it was put on Saturday morning, which is 48
It-
hours.
I know the
And
law.
where are the boards?
Fair enough.
One's out here.
One's at the dump, and one's down at the church.
At the
Life
church.
church.
Well, it's gonna be at the church.
No, it is. No, it's up.
Did you get it back up?
Yes, it is up.
Thank you, I didn't know.
Okay.
So it's
Oh, it was
something
empty
that,
Sunday. Saturday was empty, so.
I've been to other meetings, Rome particularly, where it is always notated at the beginning of the meeting that postings were put up at certain places at certain times. Is that something that we need to do?
That's
Would
fine.
that, satisfy everybody's,
Well, if they don't catch it, if they don't see it. no.
right? But it's still being put out there that,
It's a certified posting.
Yeah, certified.
If it shows it complies, it probably should be part of some record. If
It
you're
is.
complying with whatever is the minimum, you should have a record that can comply.
It is.
Right.
Where it says posted.
That's all you should
that
do.
they-
That's probably what's been done for ever.
Right.
Well, we got the internet. I mean, the internet's just an extra.
so I'm just asking if it would help if we announce it at the beginning of the meeting, so everybody hears where it was done
But
and when.
we do that, and it was in the last meeting, it was stated when the next meetings were going to be.
Mhm. Right, and I
It wasn't this
called,
one.
right, I called this
Call
one
this on Friday.
on Friday,
Yep.
so I can catch up, like I said, so when Tuesday's meeting comes around, I'm a little better prepared. That's what the intention of this whole meeting was.
It's just the timing
Mhm.
was short,
Mhm.
and the time of day it excludes a lot of people.
The time of day, it started out to be, started out, Dale, I started with him, actually, what days work for him, turned out to be Monday. correlated a little bit with Mike, find out what worked for him. Started out Monday night, and Dale came and said that,
Yeah, surgery later this afternoon.
I'm sorry.
No, it's minor surgery, but
Okay,
I still won't be able to be here until maybe 6 o'clock,
okay.
and probably we shouldn't be making decisions at that point.
Fair enough.
Okay.
It just, you must have realized that a lot of people work.
Oh, yes, I
They're
do,
not going to be here.
I do totally realize that, but no matter what decision is made, it's kind of hard to include everybody. So if I just, with his surgery, I have an appointment at 11:15 myself, so everything got,
Then maybe Monday wasn't the best day.
no, but we're running out of time also. So,
Okay, I see, it just,
I personally did not expect this many people. I thought it was just gonna be the three of us discussing, catching up, you know. I don't know, like I said, you know, I have not been here this last year, so.
then you're getting a very slanted look of the three people sitting up there.
Yeah.
And this involves the entire township.
Yeah, they're town meetings.
Yeah, I totally realize that, and it's just,
No.
no, there isn't. It's just an information gathering meeting, that's all it is. No decisions to be made, so that's how I was looking at it. So I've got a lot of learning to do, a lot of the statutes and laws, I don't know all of them. I've been in the fire service for all these years, this is Greek to me. So I hope you can understand that.
Thanks for stepping up.
Thank you.
Yeah, I will say that. We appreciate, I mean, I do think a lot of appreciation for the people that are willing to put the time in, because I'm sure it's not easy.
No problem.
No, and
And I'm
I'm
sure
sure
you-
Mark can attest to that. It's
A lot
not
of conflict.
easy,
It's
so-
aged him, the poor guy.
So, all right, so I think we got off on two different subjects here, but, for the postings, should we announce? I think this probably is something that we'll do. We'll work on at the next meeting.
Clerk's office hours are from 9 to 2, Monday to Thursday. You should be able to get to her whatever you need to do, and she can post it on Thursdays.
Yeah,
Is what
Thursdays are-
it's typically done.
Mhm. And that was on my fault. I dropped the ball by the time I remembered it Thursday night. It was too late, so.
And we still,
You got a question in the back?
Oh, yes, well,
Could this possibly be given to whoever the administrator is for the neighborhood, what is it, mid-class neighborhood, whatever it's called, on the internet? So if
Neighbors and big
post
flats.
it right away,
Not big flats, neighbors.
It's got to be posted officially.
Okay.
so it can't be,
It does wind up on there.
maybe we can let them know a little ahead of time that, hey, there's a posting, get on it.
could there be like an email list form or
if
something like
people,
that?
people want an email, like, who doesn't want email it, but they need to get a hold of me and ask me.
If you put it on the neighborhood thing, it'll pop up for everybody.
That's all.
You know, you gotta remember that you guys are the town board, but you're working for us.
Mhm.
Okay?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, right
I
there.
always try to be courteous and get to as many people as possible. I mean, that's only the fair thing to do. So if there, I think that neighborhood, what is it, neighborhood big flats?
Neighbors in big flats.
Neighbors in big
Because
flats.
there is one
A lot.
big flats neighbor
Yeah, the neighbors
in
in
New
big
York.
flats, it pops up on that really easily, if you could put it on there.
I'll put it on our website.
And then someone could maybe do it. I don't
And
know.
if it's on my website, if it's on the town's website, or not the
You're doing
website,
it legally, Terry. Yep,
no,
She's
never mind.
not gonna do any more than she has to
No.
legally, is
That's
what
right.
she's saying.
She's not.
no, that is not what I'm saying. Let me correct what I was trying to say. What I was gonna say is, I will put it on our Facebook page, because Big Flats does have a Facebook page.
Oh,
Yes, been out there for a year. And then anybody who likes the page or whatever, it should come right up on their page.
Big flats Facebook page.
No, won't do that private
Terry,
What? I'm
is
sorry.
it, is it under town of Big Flats?
on the town.
Always be going on Facebook?
Yes.
Back to the other, the illegal meeting as you were coming up with. Again, I was not aware that I was part of the planning commission board, so that is something on me. There's no intention, nothing was decided, I just wanted to take a look at what was out there, what was going on. Because I looked at it as there's a possibility that this may come around again for a third time.
I have a question about that meeting, I guess, as it were. Was that posted anywhere? Was it a planning? It wasn't posted at all then, the planning commission meeting, so that the public wasn't able to go over
Yeah,
and
they
look
said
at
we
the
were,
site?
it was public, but we didn't know about it, we're all public.
Right, so it wasn't posted anywhere?
Yeah, I didn't look at
That
it
people were
as-
meeting over there to check out the spot?
Okay. I did not look at it as being a quorum, as was pointed out, because I did not realize that being part of the planning commission. So, okay, I stand corrected on that. I looked at it as myself as being the only board member there. And
I have a question about the planning commission. It's 4 people, not including you, right? So you would be the 5th. Am I right? I mean, I'm
It's
just
5
asking.
people,
Okay.
it's 3 citizens, it's the town chair, and it can be one other. It could, Mike could be on it, but
But
there's gotta
somebody
be a
from the
full
board.
5.
All right, and then my question is, now these people were appointed, not elected, I guess, and is there, when will they be reappointed? How long are those positions?
3 years,
3 years?
3
Okay.
years for the term.
I think they were just appointed two, weren't they?
Yes,
The last meeting.
yes, and they have to also be approved by the board.
No, what happened last time? You missed it.
The appointed people to the planning commission, when is the chair?
Okay, and who are the other new 2 people then? Bobby?
And Mark Ward is just re-up for another 3-year term. Joe Thomas is, got what, a 2-year term now?
A year.
He's got a year to finish out.
He's filling in for Larry's position.
For Larry's position.
What about Billy?
And Billy was the other one.
But she's not, she has 1 more year, I think, for, she renews, is she a
I'd
2-year
have to
one?
look at the dates. It might be a little over a year.
So she only has,
So it can
So you're
consist of the
understand.
town chair, 1 other board member, and 3 citizens
Okay.
is what it can consist of.
Majority.
okay,
Then when you're up on the planning and zoning and how to grow the town.
makes sense. Okay. Anything else on that then, or?
That's what I got on that.
Okay. Any other, with you two at all?
I was just gonna suggest before we make a motion to adjourn, does anyone have any input, feedback about the hours that I had recommended?
Yes. I like the way it was set up for the summer hours where it's Saturday, Monday, and Wednesday. I don't know, to me, Saturday and Sunday just seems, why 2 days together.
I agree.
I'm for the Sunday personally. I feel like a lot of people, it encourages weekenders to illegally dump when they can't drop their garbage off on their way out of town. It's
Exactly.
just my opinion, I don't know.
Exactly.
But I think Sunday I think it's better.
Saturday, Sunday, and Wednesday. The township here has Wednesday, and the hours, Mike, would be what, 1 to 7? So you'd still have a whole day on Wednesday.
What
And
about
that
4
Saturday
people
and
that's
Sunday,
in?
what would it be, like 10 to 2?
Correct.
10
Well,
to 2
what about
Saturday.
the 4
and
people
Sunday.
that are in the dump on Sunday? They give them a break. Let them be
It's a
home
job.
with their
I
families on
worked
Sundays.
30
instead of
years when I
running
had
the
to
dump.
work weekends.
I think like
It's a
on
job. If
Saturday
they don't
and
want the
Monday
job
and
to work
Wednesday would be
Saturday
good.
and Sunday,
Okay, just one at a time, please.
I think
Sorry.
it's a job.
Yeah.
I've worked weekends for 30 years.
That was your choice.
Exactly, and that's his choice when he took that job. If he doesn't want to work Sundays, then he shouldn't.
Okay.
We have to look
12
at
to
for
6,
people,
so that you
the
don't.
camping people that come up on
You know,
weekends.
at the
When
end
they
of the
go
year,
home on
you know, you
Sunday,
get that dark
it ain't like they
time
can
hour,
take their garbage
and then
home
the guy
anymore
wouldn't have
like
to
they
go over
used
there
to.
after.
Because now they have recycling bins at every town.
Right,
so
I'm
they
open
fill 'em
to
so
this.
Well, I'm not worried
Yeah.
about
12
the
to 6
camping
maybe
people.
instead of the
I
1 to
didn't
7.
think about the camping
Rich?
people.
Rich, can we hold off on that one for a little bit? That's part of why we're asking. So, okay. Hazel, I missed most of what
I
you
was
were saying.
asking Mike if you might consider doing 12 to 6 on Wednesday rather than the 1 to 7, because as you get towards the end of the year, you've got
You're
the
making that
daylight
hours
savings
permanent.
time and you're going into the dark,
Yeah.
you know, why be over there when it's getting dark?
Yeah, and that's something we can look at times that will work
Sure.
best and stuff like that, so.
So, when we changed hours and got rid of, or when we look at that schedule in the past, were those hours done because there was an abundance of garbage being dumped that shouldn't have been dumped?
Correct.
Because there were a lot of changes over there.
One of the things that was looked at was a lot of out-of-towners they felt were bringing garbage in. So as I understand it, means were made by putting the front shed out there with somebody in it to monitor this, which is a great idea. And I think that kind of took care of a lot of that.
We did, it
Yeah.
helped a lot.
Helped
So
out.
that was my second part of the question would be, so if we change the hours, whatever they are, do we want to, are we planning on countering all that extra intake there may be, or people not abusing
That's,
the
that's,
privilege by enforcement?
that's by being taken care of by that person
Enforcement.
out front, yes,
Yeah.
correct.
That's fine, then
That's
you
how
know.
I
Who isn't there in the winter though?
As long as you don't end up going back to the
Yeah, that's true, and Mark just made a point, there's nobody in there during the winter. But I don't know, is that much of a problem? Yeah, I guess so. Is that much of a problem with the weekenders during the winter?
I don't know.
So,
No, not in the winter.
Doesn't seem to be.
okay, so hang on a second. Hey, Sue, do you have something?
I just want to make sure I can talk before you guys adjourn.
Mhm.
Now?
When we get to the, about this subject or another subject?
Yeah,
Other-
just to keep in mind.
Okay, not a problem, Hazel.
Typically, when this all started, it was the concern of the amount of money being spent on tipping.
Correct.
Okay, and that's why we ended up getting rid of something or other over there. So, and with the out-of-towners, now you've got the balance between, you got the out-of-towners that are paying taxes here.
They own property.
Yeah, they own the property, they're paying taxes here, and the people that are abusing it. I personally think that you can get rid of Sunday and those people will learn to come on Saturday. Because they're showing up here on Friday.
And maybe so, I don't know how busy it is there on Sunday, I've never followed that,
And the only way you're gonna figure out the tippage portion of it is you gotta go by tonnage, you can't go by the cost factor because you don't know, because the Adams County has increased their tonnage price.
Right.
They wanted to make a really good differentiating.
That's something
I,
we'll
I,
take into consideration and everything, so.
I'm thinking that, as far as the campgrounds on Sunday and they clear up their campsites and put it in a dump, that they should be dumpsters at the campgrounds.
There are.
We're not talking about.
We're not
Well,
talking
then-
about
There is.
campgrounds.
We're talking about the people that come
Yes.
up on weekends that own property with campers on the property.
Yeah, and
not
I
talking
think
about
as far as
campgrounds.
Sunday, I like the hours the way they are. We don't have to change anything.
Okay.
Just keep them, we changed the hours a lot of different times. Now we got the nice hours now and,
Yeah, I can see maybe, because it does get confusing, I get confused myself, what changes at daylight savings time. So, I mean, I'm kind of looking at this, as consistency year-round, maybe better, possibly. That's why it's kind of out here, I guess, to find out. So, anything else?
Yes. You're the former chief, correct?
Correct.
All right. I was former fire inspector for you, correct?
Hmm?
Current fire inspector again? That's a non-conforming business over there on County seat. Did I ever,
Which
or have,
business?
where the proposed campground is,
Okay,
/ salvage yard?
okay.
It was a salvage yard all those years, correct?
As far as I'm aware, yes.
It was a non-conforming business, correct?
That's the way I understood it.
Okay. Business was sold, property was sold, correct?
As far as I understand, yes.
Did I ever do a fire inspection out there?
You weren't required to, is the way I
Yes, it
understood.
was. That was a salvage yard. If it was a salvage yard, I should have been doing fire inspections out there. We never did one single fire inspection out there.
Because it's,
Therefore, it was not a business.
it was zoned residential, really. It appears it's been operating illegally all those years as a junkyard.
The junkyard was a
Residential zone.
non-conforming business.
Okay,
Because it was set up before the zoning.
oh, he never sold anything,
It was his
okay.
personal property. It was his
Right, but they
personal
go
hobby.
after people with 2 campers now, or 3 campers. How many campers were there? 50?
Yeah.
I mean,
It's been so many years since I've been in there, I couldn't even answer that question. But that yard has been, I've been here for 40 years, and that yard's been here long
Right,
before that.
that doesn't make it
so,
right. I want to
you know.
mention something too, because on what Dale just said about the non-conforming use going with the owner. Recently, somebody came in and wanted to do a hair salon, and they said, yes, that's okay for her, but just for her. In other words, it can be a hair salon while she's over there, but if she sells it, the next person can't automatically be a hair salon.
Right.
Yes, so I caught that in the planning commission. They specifically said it was, and it's on the video somewhere, that it was for this person at this location only. It doesn't transfer. That non-conforming use does not automatically transfer to new owners.
Okay, so there's a conflict in there because it's one way, and then the other place is not, is what you're saying.
I don't know, I've only been here 10 years. I don't know how the junkyard over there got to be what it is. Especially the way they go after these
Back-
people with 2 campers, I mean.
Back in the day when it was formed, it was probably, you just did what you wanted because nobody cared, there wasn't any. The rules and regulations that we have today were non-existent.
Right,
By
but
a
it's
long
still
time.
zoned residential.
Okay,
I mean, it's in the heart of a residential area. There's nothing commercial within miles around it. It would be considered illegal spot zoning. Rezoning is what it is.
Okay.
There's a case going on now, I'll tell you, Jeff.
okay.
I
Yeah,
don't
that's
remember where it
something
was.
Here again, I gotta learn about,
Yep.
so, okay.
May I say one more thing, since this is an unofficial meeting? Is Wendy, our planning commissioner, here? No, you're related to her, though. I know you're her brother's
She's on vacation.
wife. Oh, okay. I don't know if anybody here knows Wendy, knows of her, but she comes from a family that has hundreds of acres of MFL.
We're not gonna sit here and bash.
I'm not bashing, I'm telling people, there's nothing I'm saying is
We've heard
untrue.
this
I'm just
story.
saying she comes from a family that has hundreds of MFL, and her home is specially rezoned so that she only has to pay residential taxes on a single acre.
That's the way.
You may have heard.
That's the way MFL works.
Okay, right, but what I'm saying is that most of us don't have that luxury, and to me, that person does not seem representative of people in the community who own, what I always hear is a minimum of a 2.5 acre lot. Some of us have more, but it's supposed to be a minimum of 2.5 acres. Somebody that owns hundreds and hundreds of acres of MFL does not seem representative of me. I don't know of any of you, if you have that kind of family, money, and acreage, but I just thought we should all know she might be coming from a little bit of a different perspective
I don't
than
think-
us regular folks.
I don't think you know her. She's putting hours and hours and hours of study into what's correct, what is legal, what is right. And if you knew the MFL laws back in the day, Carrie can tell you the same.
Oh, I know
thing.
you're allowed to build something on it, I know.
Nancy Livingston's was the same way. She
Right,
had the
she has
stuff
her
in-
house back there.
No, she's dead. But anyway.
Well, I know, but.
Yeah.
All
But
right.
she was in MFL, but the 1 acre that her property, her house was on.
Right,
Was,
you pay residential,
you
yes.
paid the residential, everything else around it.
Right.
That's her prerogative. You also gotta
Right, there
remember-
are people like that, I'm saying, but I don't feel that they're representative of our interests, us people that have just a couple acres.
I don't know,
Well-
I hunt and fish and so.
It's closed
we
MFL, by the
travel
way.
that MFL property.
This is
So I think-
closed MFL, I
think-
should have made the distinction. It's closed MFL, yes, open MFL is an absolutely
She pays
wonderful,
higher taxes.
But
wonderful.
she pays higher taxes. on
Yes,
it.
she does. Well, first of all, she doesn't, it's her family's, and yes, you know how much they are? $70 for 100 acres, people. $70 for 100 acres. Bullshit.
Then
We
show
can
us.
prove that. I have 40 acres, I have 40 acres of MFL, it costs me $400 a year, 40 acres.
For $400, you're saying for 40 acres?
Yes.
So should she be kicked off the board?
It has not been the 70 acres in probably 15 years is when it was like $70 for 40 acre parcels.
I'll look. I mean,
Yeah,
taxes
you go
are,
right
taxes are
ahead.
public
Okay,
information.
that's,
You can all
right, and
see.
that's, we need to
Absolutely.
move on from that one,
Yes.
so.
Well, I just thought people might like to know, people that don't know her.
I can back Terry up. Geez, back in my day, it was something like 20-some bucks for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
Don't get over.
and there is a lot of lots in this area
Any
that are
openings?
under 2 acres because they were formed prior to that 2 acre minimum. That's also in there, so,
You gotta remember, this whole area was built for the paper company.
yes.
That's why it came
And
in.
we only brought zoning in,
Yep.
how many years ago?
2013.
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of this stuff has been enacted since then, so prior to, there is a lot of stuff out there that would no longer be accepted or allowed today. So, gotta kind of keep that in mind.
You wanted to know what our job titles are, or what we do.
Mm-hmm. That is something.
Okay, Supervisor 1, 24-hour call with the Sheriff's Department. They call me about down trees, missing stop signs, or road signs, etc. I take care of the ditches, take care of the plowing, take care of the maintenance for the fire department and for the highway department.
Well, here's something else you can take care of.
Yes, that's going to be taken care of for you.
And what is
And I
that?
want a copy of the certified fire extinguisher and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they got to be in there, they're expired. Normally the town takes care of it in September. What am I going to do? Am I going to call somebody out just to inspect 2 fire extinguishers? No.
I don't know how that works. I've
We can
never
take them
done
up
that.
to Rome next weekend.
Okay, that's an option, or trade them out with something that is current, would be another idea.
No, all you do is get them inspected by a fire extinguisher.
Right, I realize that, but in the meantime,
Costs a lot to have them come here.
right, so they normally come, and do everything all at once, and every once in a while, I do know this for a fact, one of them or 2 of them get looked over. They didn't get where they were supposed to be or what have you. So we have an issue that 2 fire extinguishers, if I understand, are not current. So a simple solution is,
Doesn't have a date on
Take
it.
it up to your own inspector.
that's an option, or trade them out with something that is current.
Take it out of there.
Why would you do that if we could go 10 miles up the road and have them?
It's an option. That's,
It's just a clinic they're doing this next weekend, it's not something that's all the time.
right. So I just, every once in a while, like I said, things get overlooked, and that happened to be one of them, and then during an inspection, obviously, it got caught. So, in the fact of, Dale was doing his job as an inspector, he caught it, like anybody else, we get written up. That's all there is to it. So,
there is no favoritism.
no.
Okay.
That fire company that you got going around looking at things, they know exactly how many fire extinguishers are on.
Yes, there is a list, but as time goes on, things change, vehicles change out, stuff gets added, the list is always not current. So, speaking from my history myself, sometimes they show up and I can't be here, or I couldn't be here for whatever reason, so, the list sometimes didn't get updated.
Interesting. They always did all of ours.
Yeah, and they normally do, but like I say, things do change. So,
And they're not costly to get it done. I mean, it's just.
no, individually, they're not, but,
No, I mean, business-wise.
yeah, but for them to make a special trip up here, is it really worth the effort, or just take other options temporarily?
I don't know.
So
They missed
that's-
ours one year and came up with, didn't charge us any more than you know they did.
Okay. So. All right.
That's okay, you call it.
One of the things I wanted to ask about was, about a year ago or so, I brought up the part of the house numbered fire signs, because they were faded, 1 out of 4, when I kind of did my own personal survey, and I know, Dale, you went around and did a survey on it.
Single road. I
Yep.
wrote down every single faded sign, bent, damaged, growing up in the middle of a lilac bush, everything.
What became of this?
Well, I I handed the list to Terry. We were in hopes that ARPA funds were gonna be spent by the county to replace them throughout the whole county, but they went a different direction.
Okay.
Couldn't we, the town split the cost with the homeowner?
It's an option, that's why I'm, being on the receiving end of this, going out on incidents and stuff like that, I've been in the rig that went past one of these signs because you can't read it. And at times, this can be a crucial thing, having to go turn around and come back. Heart attack victim, for an example. That's not the time to be missing a sign. So I have a great concern about these signs. They should be posted properly and legible.
It was already decided at the board level that it would be on your tax bill for $40. You'd have to find it in the budget if you're gonna try to split it now and rescind that.
Because we have like 300 of them.
Okay.
I thought there was more than that.
Oh, she automatically added it.
300 of them that need to be
We bought
replaced?
Yep.
Okay.
What happened to the ordinance that was created back when Dennis Tully was chair, in which, when the fire signs were originally mandated by the county to be placed?
Yep.
I never understood how Delwood got away with it, and they didn't do anything down there, but, anyway, they were placed, purchased by the town, and the property owner got one replacement for free, and after that, they had to pay for it.
Correct.
Did that ordinance walk out of the file cabinet?
I don't know what happened to that. I do remember that.
Yeah.
So I know you are correct in what you are saying. It was put up to the owners of the property to maintain the signs. The problem that I'm seeing is that's not happening.
I think I take a white
So-
can of paint, go out there and redo my letter.
Yeah. And that'd be fine if people were. It's the same thing with license plates on your car. When the finish comes off, it's up to the owner of the car. They're supposed to replace it. Again, nobody does. And ethically looking at it, here we know there is a problem. The part that nobody, I guess I'm afraid of the finger pointing, stating that, well, the town should have done this. I heard a lot of that with the flooding. The town should have been, the town should have been, the town should have been. Okay, I'm trying to be proactive on this fire sign because it is a life and death situation on a possibility at any time that I feel this should be addressed. And
It
not
was
just-
addressed at a meeting, again, it
And
was
that's-
on your tax bill for $40.
Okay, and that's what I'm finding out. I'm, again, catching up.
If you request one, you mean, or just
No,
everybody?
No.
Whoever's sign is faded, whatever they went
Gotcha,
around and
gotcha.
wore,
I
they're not
see.
gonna just replace them all.
Right, right.
Was that on the tax insert at all?
Okay.
I don't remember.
I don't remember if it was.
I think it's on the website too.
Yeah, I think it is.
Every time Mary's got an import.
Okay.
I don't look at it. Every time I try to go in, I always have to call Terry and say,
So
Terry,
that's-
how do I
that
get
is
to where?
what is-
It's $40 on your tax bill. If you still want it, you get to pay it on your tax bill.
Okay.
If I wanted to, I could go around, I could hand that list in to the county and say, all right, go print up all these signs, and then they'd have to haul them all out, and my guys could go out and they could put them all up. But that's going to cost us,
We would have to, yeah, pay for them up front.
we'd have to pay for the signs up front, and we'd have to also pay the guys to go out and put up all the signs.
Which is what the $40 included.
Yeah.
Right,
And that's,
okay.
and then pretty much that's it.
In stages, we don't have to do it all at once.
Okay. All right.
Just something-
Dale, were you able to list them as far as really bad or medium or, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So you could hand pick which ones were the worst and kind of go that
Oh,
route?
yeah. Well, I mean, some of them are so faded and everything, I mean, it's almost all white
Yeah.
from where the sun hits it. Some of them have been hit by various things, mangled, whatever.
So if you have them listed from, you know, small, medium to large as far as how damaged they were,
Yep.
we could go after the hard ones first and then.
Was there a reason why everything got shifted to the county versus, taking it out of that company?
Complaint sign or anything like that. I don't know. I think just because the county was offering them, maybe that's why. I don't know. In they were good until they got dispatched of, when they found out that it was, yeah, whatever was wrong with whatever they were using.
Because we had a really good rapport with that one fire company sign. I'd send an email out and they would be here within a week. And the highway guy put it up.
That if we get for 200, I have it written down there, the cost would be a little bit less.
Okay, and that's something, so, all right, that sounds good there. But it is a township responsibility, not county.
Yeah, the county doesn't.
Yeah, so it does fall on, they assign the number
Right.
as what the number should be, but still the township is responsible for making sure the signage is up. Okay.
Yep.
All right, so we got on that then. All right.
Can I ask you a question? Do you know offhand what is the requirement as far as the location? Does it have to be a certain distance from the road or a certain
Yes.
distance from your?
I do not know what they are, but yeah, you can't have it up on your garage in the backyard or something like that. It's got to be legible from the road. I don't know if it's directional or not, but I
Supposed to
know,
go this way, your road's going this way.
yeah,
Runs the road.
yeah, and it's got to be so many feet off the road. I think it's like on the edge, and I'm not sure about this, on the edge of the right of way, maybe.
Yes. I believe we put it about 4 feet off to the left side of your driveway.
Okay.
That's not county's requires website.
Okay. So, and to answer your question, yes, there is requirements and regulations on it.
Well, I was more interested in what they were.
Yeah, I do not know them right off the top of my head, so. Okay. The other one that I kind of wanted to bring up was the steel container, the storage, you know what I want to say.
Storage containers.
Yeah, the metal ones that you can buy.
Shipping containers.
Containers, that's what I'm looking for. I know that there's stuff on that. I kind of want to feel this one out because I kind of question, I guess, what is the difference if somebody has one of these steel containers used as a storage shed? I mean, they're just about indestructible. You can buy them cheaper than a wooden one and everything. If somebody paints one of these up and makes it presentable looking, what's the difference between something like that and a wooden shed? As far as, I mean, because right now there's a 1-year limit on these containers on a property.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the
type
ordinance. Wow.
Yeah.
This would be something you bring up to the planning commission.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
There's an ordinance on it, you're allowed to have them for 1 year.
Okay.
Reason being, if you go around township here, and I could probably come up with a couple of them, and I'm not gonna, because I ain't pointing fingers. People are turning them into garages with electricity,
Places to
making
sleep.
workshops out of them.
Okay.
They're living in them, they're making sleeping quarters, kitchen in them. And somebody's gonna bring up and say, well, out in California, they use these for homes. And if that's their ordinance, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But the plan commission decided here they're not gonna have that, so.
Okay, so that needs to be brought up.
Well, that can be brought up, but, I mean, and then we're gonna go from that to the camping issue. That's gonna be the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't we have 5 campers on it's my land?
Mm-hmm. And that's been brought to my attention too, that question.
And I think what's gonna happen here is you're gonna have a certain amount of people that are gonna predict what the zoning ordinances are gonna be for everybody without knowing the whole picture.
Mm-hmm.
There's more to it than just having 3 campers or 5 campers.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna, like I said, I'm not pointing fingers, but I'm gonna bring this up. Probably 80% of the campers here that have more than 1 camper on the property don't have no type of sewage disposals hooked up to them. None, 0.
Yeah, I can believe
They're
that.
going into the ground. That's not us, that's a county issue.
Mhm.
We can't control that.
Correct.
But there's reasons why we are only allowing so many.
Mm-hmm.
There's And I could go on and on and on and on. But I'm new at this. I only started in August. And I still have a lot to learn. But I see a lot more than what everybody sitting here sees, including you. And you've been out to a lot of calls with different things.
Yes.
There's a lot of things out there that they're doing that they're pushing the envelope. They're just trying to get away with it, and they don't care.
Right, and I agree.
And that's the thing. And we have a plan commission that comes up with these ordinances. And they're public meetings. And that's where people gotta go and voice their opinion, what they like or don't like of the zoning, is at the public meeting.
And here again, that's why I'm asking about this.
Right, and that's a zoning thing, and I'm gonna bring up something else too. I get a little irritated easy on a lot of different things, and one of them is when people pick on somebody that is not here to defend themselves. And I'm gonna tell you, the short amount of time I worked with Wendy, there's probably not a better person that I could think of. And I know a lot of people that more suited for that job than her. It has nothing to do what she owns or doesn't own. That has absolutely nothing to do with doing a job. She does very well, and I respect her a lot. And I'm just going to defend her on that.
I didn't mean it in a
No,
bad way.
and not just
I
you.
just feel like
In general, I'm not
it's a
pointing
class
fingers.
thing, perhaps. Most of us
Well,
don't own hundreds of acres.
and you know
Most
what?
of us,
And some of us don't own a lot, but some of us own a lot more. But that should not dictate what or what not should be.
well,
That has nothing to do
Point
with
taken.
anything.
I just think we should have more representatives,
I
people that
think
represent the little people.
Absolutely.
The
Well,
little
that's what we're trying to do is yeah, correct, we are.
We're big flats.
All right, anything else on that at all?
Are they making any issue on some of the people on the, what passed through the board here, of how many of the campers are there? Because I know a couple of complete areas, what you're talking about, they got about 5 campers, and I heard it going to the courts, and it looks really bad. So we got to adhere to that when they go to, we have the hired lawyers for these people to make them behave. And then we got issues coming up that we're deciding on different things about the new campground. Well, why should that even be an issue of what is here?
Okay.
We're saying that you can't do this but we can change the whole structure of campgrounds, another campground. We already got one, and we want another one.
Okay, well, it's a different issue. For one, you know, in my business, I get around all over the county, and I see a lot of these places. And again, not pointing any fingers to anybody anywhere, but you know, they'll have 3, 4 campers in on a piece of property and stuff like that. You got mom and dad over here, you got a son, maybe a nephew. It is a family get together, and I respect that greatly. So I question, I understand the septic, I truly do, and it needs to be there. But I myself have a hard time looking at this. How does the county dictate how a family should be on a piece of property? That's questions in my head. You know, so to me, the county is tearing apart a family structure, and that I don't feel is right. That's just my personal opinion, so that's why I'm asking about this. Yes, there is measures that need to be taken if there is multiple campers. I do agree with that. Where this county is, I don't totally agree, because you can go over to Juneau County and have a porta potty rented, and that's perfectly fine, so everybody can use it, as long as they have that certificate stating that it is being taken care of by a septic company. That's not allowed here, as far as I understand. It has to have that tank in all the... In the ground, right.
And this proposal of the new campground, there's 400 trailers over there.
Yeah, but that's a business. That's a business.
Well, they go to the dump, like they said.
That's
They
not
go
a
to the dump on
business. That's not
Sundays.
somebody
People
owning the land.
from the campground mentioned that from the other campground, they go to the dump on Sundays, and they get rid of the dump before they leave.
Yeah, whole nother ballgame there. I'm referring to the campers that are on private property on the subject here.
Yes.
So, Hazel.
Let's get off the campground. I have a question.
The previous board allowed us to ask questions as the items came up on the agenda.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to allow that also?
Correct.
Good.
I would like to,
never
yes.
thought it was a good idea that after the whole meeting was over with, then the citizens got to talk.
Yeah, I like to hear what they have to say, you know, opinions. Nothing can be decided on, but it is, you know, as pointed out, we're here to represent the people, and I do strongly believe in that. So, all right. One of the issues also, we kind of catching up on the lighting around the building, which I see has been changed now and everything. One of the issues that we have is right here on the corner of the building for the handicapped area. No matter what the lighting is around here, we still have this shadow out here. The trees, and it slips my mind what they're called, the one is, what, 5-6 feet above the top of the building, and that's part of what's creating that shadow. Should we do something with these?
Yeah, probably.
Possibly, and come up with an idea?
All the trees.
Or at least put them down in bushes or something?
Right now, they're a fire hazard right next to the building.
Mhm.
They're unkept. They should have been kept up a long time ago, but they haven't been kept up.
Yeah,
I suggest we all individually take a look
Yeah.
at that, and then at the next board meeting, we make a decision.
Okay.
So it could be put on next month's agenda.
Yep, okay. That would be fine.
Those bushes out here though were originally put out to make the building look more, not good to see that.
Yeah, and understood, but
Yeah.
it's gotten to be a problem. It's gotten, as he says, nobody's maintained them, and they've gotten out of
But are you
hand.
talking about the bushes, or are you talking about the trees in the island?
I was referring to the trees,
In the island?
you know, out in the front, but I do understand the bushes where they keep the leaves, and that's, you know, in Firewise program and stuff like that around the houses, that's what they talk about. Leaves and stuff like that under decks and things, well, here they're all underneath these bushes,
Rosetta hired property workers to keep their stuff up.
so.
I never understood that either. They had boots of people.
Okay, but that's something I agree with, that we could do that, just individually look at it and come up with it, so.
I think I got a pile of dirt and rocks out on the corner here. Big rocks that we could always put out there in place of bushes.
Okay.
And then put some rocks out there.
When's Red Rock gonna open up?
May 1st.
May 1st? Okay. Is there any plans that to be anything done there with Rabbit Rock at all?
Yeah, there's some picnic tables there that need to be scraped and painted.
Okay, and
I'll pick up the paint because normally he sends 2 people in the town truck, so I'll get it myself.
okay,
But you'll have to pick 1 or 2 workers, you know, to do the scraping and painting.
okay. Is that something that's needed on all the picnic tables?
Yeah, they're all pretty bad.
So is that something that,
We did them, what, 3 years ago? I want to say 3 years ago, maybe 4, 2.
so it's something that we
We done 2 years ago.
kind of need to be looked at then?
Yeah.
And I picked up the paint myself, and I brought it back myself.
That's funny. I picked up the paint.
Well, neither here nor there, it's something that got done, so,
Tell me how you did
all
that.
right.
How did the court case go?
No court case.
One of them got, they paid up, they were waiting to hear on the other one.
Okay. Well,
I'm getting tired of hearing all this bickering between board members during a meeting. Can't you put the meeting on hold, go back to the office or whatever?
no,
And
it's,
and then, no, I mean, just between the board members. It was happening under the last administration, and I mean, it's been happening at too frequent.
That's one of the things that I'm stumbling around with myself, because, yeah, it would be nice to be able to do that, but according to statutes, we cannot, because anytime more than two get together, that becomes a quorum.
No, she's saying during the meeting.
During the meeting, okay, so going into, let's say, a closed session consists of certain subjects only. And
This is for y'all to get together, get your heads out of, and get together on something.
it would be really nice to be able to do that, so we can get on the same page. We can't.
It has to be on the agenda.
It has to be on an agenda, and that's kind of what this meeting, as far as I was concerned, was supposed to be. So, but because of the statutes and the way it's addressed out, that, no, it just can't be done. without-
Okay, then maybe, somebody should remind the board members that this is not a bickering situation,
Point taken.
but that, yes.
All right, this goes back to July last year. Somebody has a problem with me because he tried to coerce me into fixing the vote for the campground.
In what way were you coerced?
A 40-minute conversation with you, trying to tell me to talk me off the ledge. I gotta defend the ladies of the board.
Well, let me ask you this. Two questions, just two questions.
Sure.
But, I need you to answer honestly, and I know that doesn't come easily.
It's called decorum, Dick.
Yes.
You
He
are
could be
starting
removed
this
right now.
right here and now.
Okay.
During that thank you for bringing that up. During that conversation, did I offer to bribe you or reward you or your family to get your vote to swing a certain way? Yes or no?
No, you did not.
Okay. During that conversation, did I threaten you, your family, or your property to have your vote go a certain way? Yes or no?
No, you did not.
All right. Case closed. Then
No,
don't bring
no.
it up.
No, it's not.
That never
Because
happened.
you were talking to me, trying to fix a vote.
Fix a vote?
You wanted my vote to vote yes for the campground.
Now, this is a conversation we should have.
No,
again,
this is
privately.
open. This is private.
We all want to hear this.
Okay.
You want to do this?
I'm not
All
sure how
right.
the rules
We're
go on
doing
this one.
Okay.
I don't know how the rules go on this one, Mark.
It's called decorum right
Thank
now.
you.
Mike can actually be removed for decorum issues.
Okay.
I can,
Please.
You could be.
You
Do
called
you want to
me-
tell the truth about,
Hang on a
should
second,
be.
Dale.
Yeah, you
Mark's
should.
talking.
So Mike, what happened with the December meeting minutes
I'm listening.
on the website? What happened to them?
They're gone.
Yeah, but did you tell Terry not to put them up on the website for?
I did.
You did. And what authority do you have to tell her to do that?
I'm one of the town board members.
All
And-
meeting minutes get
and what
posted
was-
on the
In those
website.
meetings was absolute outrageous lies from you.
Okay. After you told me that you called Dale and did this, it's not a lie, you told me. I also have another witness that confirmed it.
I didn't coerce him. The only reason why I called you in to begin with is because I heard that you came to Terry for advice because you wanted to vote abstain.
I said.
And I wanted to get to the bottom of that. And I told you the reasons why I was going to vote yes. And then you called me back 2 days before the vote and said, I'm voting yes. I said, you are. You said yes.
You called me because you said I had a 2-hour and 45-minute conversation with Scott Gray.
Scott Gray.
He's deceased now, but I had every right to talk to Scott Gray for 2 hours and 45 minutes because he did not have anything to do with it. But you were upset that I talked to Scott Gray for 2 hours and 45 minutes.
So how do you know that? Did I express that to you?
Yes, you did.
When?
You told me that afterwards.
Afterward, when?
A couple months afterwards,
Oh,
after
a
you
couple
calmed down.
months afterward.
Yeah, you did. Because you had to sit next to me because Mark went out on vacation. I had to chair the August meeting, and I was worried about you coming off the ledge.
You were worried about me.
Yep. How are we gonna have a meeting if you don't show up as a supervisor?
I'm sorry, I didn't show up as a supervisor?
Well, you get very short with me about everything.
Oh,
I
everything.
mean, yes, you do. Let's go to the thing about, getting communication for the guys out in the shop. You sat there and you called me a dick underneath your breath.
Point, didn't
You got it on tape. Normally you got your camera right there. Let's go find your camera.
Okay, you know, that was a lie to begin with. You wanted it because someone might fall and injure themselves and needs all for help.
We have no communication in there. It's a
It
metal
was,
building.
and the truth is, because your son cried to daddy that he didn't want to go out in the cold to use the phone. That's the truth.
Excuse me, Tom.
Dick, I think we ought to nip this in the bud.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to somehow figure this one out.
You guys are, each one of you are voted by
Sure.
the people
Right.
of the township. You have to represent the people of the township. Try to put the differences beside, gotta work together.
Yep, the pointing of the fingers is not helping matters any.
You really gotta try to come together and work together, like it or not. It's just, everybody voted you people up there. Not everybody voted just for him, or you, Mike, or you, Dick. Everybody, you all got voted in by the people. You need to represent them more than bickering. You gotta come together somehow.
Right, and that's where I run into this, kind of getting back to Flo's point here. I'm even trying to figure out how, you know, obviously there's differences. There's gonna be differences. It's inevitable. It's gonna happen. How do two board members work out their differences if you can't have a meeting, you know, just to sit down, let's talk it out type of thing. It can't be done without having 24-hour notice that is the public. As soon as it becomes the public, now we got all these interjections into it, you know, and two board members, or all three if need be, can't sit down and get on the same page. And those are statutes in there that I do not fully understand yet. But that is what I'm running up against. There's more don't do's and cannots and stuff like that, and I'm even starting to question, okay, what can be done? If that makes any sense to you.
As far as running the meeting, you need
These
to,
meetings are public.
Correct.
you're under Robert's Rules of Order.
Minutes are taken.
So you guys need to brush up on the rules of order and then get a gavel. If you want to really get control of this is not official meeting, but you get a gavel.
You are supposed to
A
be
couple of clips on the
interrupting
gavel,
Tom.
you'd be in control.
Okay. All
I
right.
was talking.
All right, back to Hazel.
These meetings are public.
Correct,
Minutes are taken of them.
correct.
Once the minutes are approved, they're put on the website.
Right.
None of you board members can come back and say, take them down.
So Mike just put up his middle finger. That's the decorum issue right there.
Yeah.
He just did.
So,
I saw it,
those
Mike.
minutes
Look
have
look
got
back
to
on the
go
camera.
up On
Like
the
a high school.
website.
You're not that funny.
They're public.
He's a high school.
They're public.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Sue
yeah.
had something before you move on.
Okay.
Good morning, community members. I'm Sue Souter. I'm an emergency medical responder, secretary, and training fire inspection under Dale. I just wanted to let you know that within the last year, our new chief, Kim, has brought our department to heights that I can't believe. Every one of us are schooled, licensed, gone through so many classes. I just want you to know that you are in really safe hands with your fire department in emergency. We have equipment on board that is more than we've had. She gets not tough sometimes, but she's by the rule, by the books. And a lot of us we're used to that, but now we know it has to be done legally, and she's very great at it, and we all have your backs. As far as donations, we have pulled in $10,000 in the last month on donations from the letters that were sent out. We want to thank you so much. It's getting us equipment, more equipment we need. I just want you to know that the schooling and everything we have gone through, and I have to give much thanks to Mark Reed. He was behind us through everything that we went to him for, to make sure the community was safe and everything. Mark stood behind us, and we thank him. And we have fire department meetings every other Monday. Please come and join and sit at the tables, and if you want, it's at 6:30. The second Monday, 6:30. There's food, so come and join us and hear what's going on. But I just want to let you know that it's really good. It's much covered and feels safe because we are there. We're volunteers, and it's from our heart. We're there because we love the community, and we're always there for you. As far as the election thing, I was not real happy because I was approached about 4 days later by a board member that said, "I'm doing an exit poll, which way did you vote?" And I said, "I'm sorry, I'm not going to say. You won't, or you can't, or you won't." And I didn't find that very nice. I was intimidated. And I don't think it should be put that way.
It's actually illegal.
Yeah, it's illegal.
I mean, that's my personal choice who I voted for. And being on the fire department, I'm not causing any riffraff. This fire department is my family. It's all I have out here. No family, no nothing. But to try to pull me into that, I thought was very unprofessional. But I want to say God bless you all. We have you, and thank you so much. Thank you so much. And thank you to our chief. She is.
Thanks, Sue.
Thank you, Sue. One of the things they need to
Still
get.
got a question in the back.
Oh, well, sorry.
Yeah, I have something that I would like to address. I've noticed when I've come to meetings, and we stand and say the pledge. There are many men that forget to take their hats off.
Okay.
And that's something that should be remembered.
I'll take that very, very, very serious in consideration.
Thank you.
Yep. One of the other things
Board
that
members.
I wanted to catch up on is the field ambulance sitting out back. What is with that? I understand at the last board meeting that was put out there as to cut our losses and move on. So I'm trying to pick up as to why, after, by what I understand, quite a bit of money has been put into this unit and now it's sitting. So, Kim?
It's currently on surplus at the board's request. There was money put into it. We have gotten in contact with somebody to take all the new tires off and put the old ones back on, so then we can try to sell them back either to Suro or any, just to get that money recouped. There were new batteries put on it because it wouldn't stay running. I drove it back from the rapids, had to drive with the windows down the entire way because the exhaust was leaking into the path. The two options were fix the heater core and exhaust leak, or put a whole new engine in it because it does have almost 300,000 miles on it. I don't think it was gone through enough when we did purchase it. We had a very short window to get the auction price, but as I drove it, I saw a lot more issues than I ever even noticed the first time, and I do see it causing issues in the future. price of fixing that exhaust leak was so much because of that van body style, the whole cab needed to be completely lifted up and off of it. So the labor on just fixing the manifold actually cost a little bit more than putting a whole new engine in it.
Yeah, that part I understand because it's just the nature of the beast of that type vehicle. That part I get. But with,
And honestly, only 2 of our members even wanted that.
then why was it brought to the board in the first place of getting it?
Because the auction expired at, I don't even know, I think we had like almost 12 hours from when they found it to, it was a board night and they presented it. Once everybody got it and seen all the other issues, nobody was happy with it. So, and I had said from the get-go, I would prefer some type of pickup or SUV would be the best bet for that type of vehicle. I think an ambulance is almost just too much, but we bought an ambulance thinking that if there was no motor issues, it would be fine. But it wasn't, it was an as-is auction, and I honestly came to that meeting thinking it was gonna go the route of putting a new engine in it, and then it was brought up to sell it, and that's what all 3 decided, so. I am just doing what was told, and it was put on auction.
Okay. So right now it was put out there of buying a brand new vehicle to replace it. Am I understanding that correctly? That's the request?
That was one of the options. I've been looking, I have other people looking into used vehicles that are not EMS. The problem with buying something from another EMS company is that they put a lot of miles on in a short time because they are running nonstop. So I have some pickup trucks that are being looked at that are like executive vehicles, so they have very low miles on them, that we can just retrofit to be able to put like a topper on to be able to hold all of our equipment. So that was just one of the options that was brought up, but we need something because 531 seemed better days and nobody in. Yeah. So I think it served our community well. It's just time for it to be retired.
Yeah, I understand that part. It's past its 30-year rotation. I get that part, but,
That new motor would have basically cost a little bit less than a new vehicle would have at that point. By the time of what money we had in it from auction to put the new motor in it, we still would have been money ahead than to buy something brand new, and it would have a brand new motor in it.
That's why I'm kind of questioning this.
Well, it was decided at the board that they didn't want to spend the money on the motor. That's where the decision came from, so.
Okay.
And we have.
It could still be changed and have the new motor put in it.
We also have money that we got funded by the state of Wisconsin, the funding assistance program, that the members voted that they give 10,000 of that to put towards a vehicle. The other 6,000 we need to purchase some equipment that we need for EMS stuff. I did talk to Monroe last week, and they are looking into some options, and it sounds like they are willing to help as well. Especially since a lot of our calls are out there during the summertime, actually majority of them. So.
Kind of referring back to what Mark was saying, maybe that's something that we should maybe look at again and weigh everything out.
It's now at auction, so I don't know if we're, it's up on.
Is there like a minimum bid on it or anything like that at all, or?
It's set, the reserve is set for 8,000.
Okay.
But you could pull it back off again if we needed to.
That, I don't know anything about how the surplus works, but I can ask them.
Yeah, and same
I
here. I don't know either.
Yeah, you could pull it.
Okay.
I don't know if that's the best option for us, but,
Yes.
You know, this money is the town's money, it's all of our money, it's the taxpayers' money. You wouldn't go out on your own personal time and effort and buy something because you had a time crunch without checking it out. And we've made so many mistakes with the fire department in purchasing stuff that don't work afterwards for us. I just think that we should be a little more better stewards of our money, let's put it that way.
And that's what I'm kind of looking at here,
Yeah.
is the type of thing, yeah, it'd be nice to have a new vehicle, I'm not gonna argue that fact, but is it a feasible thing? I don't even know if the board, I'm sorry, if the township has the money for a new vehicle. You know, I'm kind of behind the block on this one. Since we have this, I understand that there needs to be a rotation, I get that. So I want to look at what is the best option going along with what you're saying.
Can I ask a question? Is it, I obviously know one of them that is an advocate of this ambulance has your ear. Is that why it's being brought up after it was already said at 2 meetings that it would be sold?
At the meeting, no, to answer your question, it is not. The first meeting that it was brought up, I was not at. The second one, I'm catching up on what was going on, so I didn't say anything at that particular time. And it was passed as to what it is right now, and that's what's being done. So now, I guess, yes,
I just know the one advocate of it, who I've had lots of butting heads with, has your ear. So, you know, like I said, I didn't drive it until I had to drive it home from the rapids, and it was 40-degree day in the rain, and I had to drive with the windows open because that's how bad.
So clearly there is an issue that needs to
There's
be
lots
addressed.
more, yes.
Yes, okay.
There's lots of issues.
Right. And I also look at, by the experience, that the old rescue unit, that was the workhorse of this department for many, many years, and to just replace that with a pickup or an SUV, I guess I'm not clearly seeing that picture.
Because we're splitting up the rescue side of it. So we're going to, our plan is to make 502, the 2-seater engine, into a squad. If that EMS vehicle is out on a medical call and we have a motor vehicle accident that requires extrication, that vehicle is tied to the call that it is already on. It cannot leave that medical call. So I want the medical vehicle to be completely split. And honestly, the last year since I've been here, since we got 532 back, that's the one that has been going out. And I personally do not want people out in their personal vehicles. I've seen near accidents. It causes more issues when you have 15 cars on the road going to one call versus coming to the station and picking up the equipment that we have here. You know, they take their personal cars. They don't have the Lucas. They don't have all the equipment that they need for medical calls. So I'm trying to eliminate that risk and get something that they like to drive. You know, it's, I don't know. I don't think the ambulance is the right thing, and I don't think having everything all in one vehicle is the right.
And I totally understand your point, so I get that. Is there a time where I can sit with you and go through some of this and come to a little better understanding of what you're trying to do and everything?
Yeah.
Great. We'll do that, Sue.
And our other medical vehicle, 531, we tried to have the lights fixed. They were broken and they're shining under the truck. We can't see at nighttime. We have to have the brights on, but we can't drive with the brights on all the time.
Now it doesn't even have a siren, so that.
Yeah, the siren's out. We are hurting for medical vehicle. That's
And
all
we
can say.
don't need a brand new vehicle. It was just it was something that was proposed that.
You want to be able to get to you.
Right.
Where a
I'm
car
just,
accident is.
I'm looking for the most feasible way of doing this.
Yeah.
That's what I'm after here.
If we get the other stuff sold, and the 10,000 that we're willing to put down, Dale found that one for 49,000 brand new. It'll last 20 years with the miles that we only go. That would be quite a bit to a new vehicle.
And that's something to look at. You know, I'm not discarding it, I'm trying to catch up as to what the decisions are, Dale.
Also, to squelch any of the rumors, no, I did not write a check for $49,000 for the township. I've heard this one going around now. So, all I did was my homework, and I presented it to the department.
Which needs to be done anyways.
Right, but I'm just letting everybody know, I did not write a check for $49,000. That's not my job here.
You got a quote. Yeah.
Correct.
So, okay, I will get with you then and catch up on a little bit more. All right, when is the next nuisance committee coming up? Any idea?
They're working on it now, they're trying to coordinate with all the members and get everything together.
So,
I talked to Justin, it could be any day now.
okay,
So, when I know, I'll let you know.
okay, that would be good. And the same thing with the planning commission, is there anything set there? May 20th, is that one? All right. And on May 20th is also the EMR ambulance meeting.
I don't believe so.
I think I've seen the sign over at Mineral, that's what's sticking in my head.
I think,
Okay.
we are gonna be, I'm sorry. No. I'm going to try to attend that, based on some information I was just given by one of the ambulance members about landing zones, that they were told they're not allowed to land anywhere but the airport in Adams, or the airfield across, up on the rapids, and airfield or something.
The helicopter service,
No, this is from the supervisor of the ambulance of Lifestar, told them that they are not allowed to land anywhere else. And
Oh, wow.
I had
The last
called-
meeting we were at, that's not what was said, though. The one that was in the
But
room.
that's what the medics told me, because we landed one through Adams the other day at their station 2, was less than a mile away from that call, because we had complications on that call. The fire department picked up the flight crew and brought them to that call. We would not have been able to do that had they had to drive the 20 minutes across the county to the airport. Helicopters will land wherever.
Wherever,
Their
yeah.
pilots are absolutely amazing.
We get it set up out here.
right, well, this is a designated landing
Yep.
zone.
Well, and we've set up now through the county, we have 26 throughout the county, all numbered. We've been working for the last year, because this all took place in July of last year, when there was the 3rd and the 4th, there was 4 helicopters in the county that all got sent to this station for some reason. There were 2 Adams calls and 2 Rome calls, and emails were sent saying, why, when you're 5 minutes away from a landing zone, another station, did you come all the way over here? When it could have been at Adams Station 2 there on Highway 21. That supervisor was not happy and told us that I had no business saying where they should pick to land when it's the fire department's job to land those helicopters.
And these are our people, our community family. If they need desperately to be flown somewhere, we want it here for
There's
you
no-
guys.
Right, and
We
I,
don't want you driving to the rapids and something worse happens.
right, the
We want
reason,
attention for you now.
reason a helicopter is being called, because normally it is critical.
Right,
So the helicopter, if need be, just landed right on the road next to the scene.
right.
Dale and I can contest to where it,
On top of us.
right on top of us once,
Yeah.
because a mistake was made.
Steve Kane is now the representative of Rome, the town of Rome. So I'm gonna be attending as well, just to make that known, because I don't think the ambulance board realizes that that's happening within Lifestar. They are told they're not allowed to tell dispatch they need a helicopter, or the fire department, that they have to physically pick up their phone and call themselves when they are trying to take care of a patient. So,
Okay.
It's not good if you're doing CPR and
Right,
somebody.
I totally agree with that.
Stop,
That's the number one priority, so yes, I will plan on being there also.
Thank you.
So, the only other thing was kind of back to the discussions as to how to make plans between board members without having to call, let's say the storm comes in tonight, we got trees down everywhere. How does it get decided to who does what? I want to say this. If we all end up going out, taking a look at road damage, trees down, whatever, how do you, 2 board members come together, make a decision as to how we're supposed to do this without having to call a public meeting?
If we gotta have a meeting where all three of us or two of us have to be somewhere, we can call and say, hey, can you set up a meeting? And we can call Terry, and Terry can set up a meeting if it's something major. It's not time sensitive. As far as the stuff that happens with the trees down or whatever, that's my department. Sheriff's Department will call me if there's something down, I'll take care of it. I call out the personnel to get everything done.
Okay,
It's
so,
not a huge thing.
no, but it can be, because here, one person is making decisions for an entire board, and that's not how the board is supposed to work. That's where I'm confused.
In that case,
Back to you, if there's something that's of major concern, like what I did with 8th Avenue.
Mm-hmm. Right, and yeah, made known, and then I repeat that back to Mike, so it keeps everybody in the loop. So, because what I understand, like an email tree is not legal, because decisions can be made, even though we're not face-to-face, it's decisions between board members, so that's not a legal thing to do. That was just something that was brought to my attention, so that's why I'm questioning this. Rich?
But isn't he the supervisor in charge of that?
yeah, that's
Correct,
why
and
it's
I
sales
just,
job.
and I just use that as an example, there's other things that could
So he
be.
should be one that they should point to him when something happens, and it should be up to him to decide what's the best option to use, and like he said, send his crews out as he get
Sure,
calls in.
there could be other things, you know, it's just, that, like I said, that was just an example I was using. And that's fine, is what he is saying there, but it's, you know, there's something, and of course, it's just nothing coming to my head right now.
I think what Dick is saying, is, you know, if Dale has to act on something quick, that he can at some point let Dick know what happened.
Right.
Oh, fine, but I think he should send out the word first and get the ball rolling.
Right, and that's fine, and if it's an informational thing, I get that, but if him and I decide to, let's make this plan and make it work, by what I understand, technically that's illegal.
I don't know what plan you would be talking about.
That's why I wish I could come up with something, but, you know, something that,
I think you're overthinking it right now as far
maybe so.
as this
Making it
goes.
too complicated.
Yeah, maybe so.
Don't delete your texts, text each other and don't delete them.
Yeah, and that I'm aware of too, so.
There are like an app called Slack that you can be on. It's a group chat, and it does save everything. And it can even be like sent to you in an email if you need it. Just an option now. Just then it keeps stuff off of like social media or whatever.
Mm-hmm. But if decisions have to be made public, that's where the question.
You can hold a meeting, a 2-hour minimum emergency meeting if there's something major.
Okay.
Post it 2 hours of emergency and, you know, if there's something that drastic, or something that has.
If we do say have a bad tornado tonight or a lot of winds that is gonna take a lot more resources, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Hopefully not, but there's that possibility of whatever, you know.
Don't wanna see big floods too.
You don't wanna micromanage, you know. Those other two people have experience on the board, they know what they can and they can't do.
Right, and
So I wouldn't get overly
that's what,
excited about
here
what
again,
you're
that's
trying
what
to
I
do
was
here.
trying to do with this meeting here, is to catch up with that kind of stuff. And you kind of hit it right on the head. I already feel like I'm being micromanaged. So, all right, yes, in this last month, I've received numerous, and a lot of it, I believe is to be rumors, but a lot of things are being said that, I'm being made aware of, and try to sort through all of this, and of course, the can'ts and don'ts and all that's right with it, so.
It's pretty hard not to know what's going on in this township. I mean, in the board meetings, you know what's going on.
Right, but it's the finer details. Right, and I have not been here in the last year, sort of, you know, pretty much. So I've kind of out of the loop.
Well, sometimes those are your own personal choices for not being here.
So, yeah. Yes.
So just a quick statement first, I have a question. So the statement of, we could call it bickering, and it's really not bickering, it's about ethical, legal issues that have happened. So it's not, you know, we need to resolve these certain things. It's that those things that happened were unethical or illegal. That's why it needs to be discussed. Number two, as you said, you didn't know much about what was going on in the last year and a half with this issue. But I've seen you here many times in discussions with some people that of the parties that are involved with the rezone.
Project in particular, 70 acres.
To go along with Nancy's comment, it is recommended as part of the chair's duties to be familiar with the whole comprehensive plan.
I would agree.
I know you have to take time and read it. I've read it, I believe Mike has read it.
I've read it.
Okay.
I've read it.
Yeah, and I will. It's available for reading.
Okay.
What the recommendations were. We had basically just signed that in what, 23? September of 23.
The end of
And the
23.
same names
2 months
of the
later, we wanted to
current
change it.
planning commissioner on that. So the planning commission that we currently have, at least the chairperson, did sign it with those numbers in it, so.
Okay. And then fine. All right.
I just have,
Pardon me?
I can print a copy off.
I would appreciate that. Thank you. Kim?
this might be something that I just need to talk to Gail about. Is there a way to get all of this sand that's out in front of our bays, like
Yes.
swept? Because it is filling the bays every time
Yes.
we go in and out.
Yeah,
Like, I know
yeah.
it was definitely appreciated during winter, but I don't know. I was like, we just need a landing zone because it just rips it all out as soon as the helicopter comes in, but it's really bad. It's like a beach in the bay.
And a helicopter wind will take you over. I know.
Okay, unfortunately, I have an appointment at 11:15 that I have to drive to. Is there anything that somebody wants to bring up really quick before we adjourn this meeting?
The well, what happened with the well?
It's
Fully
working,
optional.
We got it.
operational.
Okay.
Yeah, it is in.
We're waiting on a couple more parts, but it's functional. We're just gonna change them out because they're older and leaking, so as soon as those come in, it'll be good to go.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Yeah, motion to adjourn? To adjourn.